I've done a lot of shows about the drug crisis in America, and I've talked a lot about fentanyl. But what if it's not just a drug problem at all? I've had a lot of people say, hey, listen, if these idiots want to go out and get on drugs and ruin their life, it's not my problem. Actually, it is. It's all of our problems, and we're all paying for it, and we're spending billions of dollars on it, and it's affecting our children, our families, because they're exposed to it all. So it is our problem. But I'm talking about more than that. When I say, what if it's not just a drug problem? What if it's more than just part of the drug culture that has existed for generations? What if this proliferation of, let's focus first on fentanyl, is not just a drug epidemic? What if it's actually a weapon? That's right, a weapon that has been snuck and embedded into an existing cultural problem on purpose, with intention, by an enemy of the United States of America. Today's real story, what's happening right now, isn't just about addiction anymore. It's chemical warfare. And hear that word, war. It's chemical warfare. From 2022 through 2024, almost 300,000 people died from drug poisoning. These weren't overdoses, these were poisonings. And why do I say that? Because there was enough fentanyl in the substances they were taking that there was no other potential outcome except death. 300,000 people were poisoned to death. That doesn't count the people who lived, or the over 25 million people who became dependent or addicted to drugs, but lived. Here are some headlines about the problem. Thousands of counterfeit M30 pills containing carfentanil seized in Western Washington. Now, I didn't say fentanyl, I said carfentanil. Even worse than fentanyl. Another headline is China using fentanyl as a weapon against the United States. I recently sat down with former acting administrator of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and longtime director of the DEA Special Operations Division, my good friend Derek Maltz. He told me something that really stuck.
The American public is being deceived to death. They're thinking they're going to feel better and get high. They're not thinking they're going to die.
I couldn't get that out of my head. And he's not talking about drug users being deceived. He's talking about the American population itself. America being slowly exploited and destabilized by China. And the weapon they're using to do it, drugs. Here's what's really happening. This all starts in China because they have factories that are manufacturing the raw chemicals called precursors. They manufacture these in their labs, and they are shipped to Mexico, primarily to the Sinaloa cartel. Not just them, but primarily to them. And the cartels then make the drugs using these precursors with a recipe they got from the Chinese. Instead of sending the cake, they just sent the ingredients to make the cake and the recipe. And you make this stuff in a bathtub. This is not complex. And so now the Sinaloa cartel is sending that poison across our border into American towns. Now, President Trump has taken huge steps to shut them down by closing the borders and declaring the cartels terrorist organizations. But apparently fentanyl wasn't addictive enough or killing Americans fast enough because they now have stepped up the potency of the drugs. They're now using other synthetic opioids like niazines that are up to 100 times stronger than fentanyl. And these are hitting American streets right now. Did you catch that math? 100 times stronger than fentanyl itself. And then there's xylazine. This is a horse tranquilizer you can buy online from China for $1 a gram, which causes necrosis. Now, that means it literally rots human flesh. When you see a dead body that's been laying around and it starts decomposing, that's necrosis. I've seen the effects of these drugs myself. You see it in every big city. One big area that you're seeing problems with this is what's called the Tenderloin area in San Francisco. And if you think this is just about addicts on the street, oh, sad but not true. How wrong you are. Our sons and daughters, our students, college kids buying what they think is Adderall online. I can't tell you how many college kids I've had tell me that when it comes time for finals, they need to cram, so they want to stay awake. And so they go on the social media platform and they order just one pill of Adderall to stay up all night so they can cram for finals. It makes them focus, their mind races, they seem more alert. Here's the problem. This Adderall pill that they're getting online most likely does not have one molecule of Adderall in it. What it has in it is fentanyl, carfentanil, nitazene, all of these other drugs that, if they don't kill you, are highly addictive. And by the way, these aren't chemists in these pill mills that are making these. Literally, they turn this stuff into putty and they make it on a big metal table. They just start folding it up like pudding, or they make it in a bathtub with a boat oar. And how much they put in, or if they mix it up enough, you may get one pill that has no fentanyl or carfentanil in it. You may get another that has 10 times more than was intended because they didn't mix it up enough. You got morons mixing this stuff up. You have no idea what's in it. And then they have a pill press to make it look like Adderall or Xanax or whatever. We'll be right back. Ever feel like your tank's running on empty no matter how much sleep you get or how healthy you eat? Sometimes your body is simply missing what it needs to recharge. That's why I trust Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers. It delivers 7 forms of magnesium plus vitamin B6 and humic and fulvic acids to help your body absorb and use it efficiently. Magnesium plays a vital role in helping your body relax, recharge, and recover. This formula helps support calm focus, deeper rest, muscle recovery, and overall well-being without artificial colors, preservatives, gluten, or soy. You can feel the difference when your body gets what it needs. So if you want to sleep soundly, stay centered, and power through your day, visit bioptimizers.com/Dr. Phil and give it a try, because real balance starts from the inside out. Derek showed me a t-shirt covered with the faces of babies who died from fentanyl poisoning. 1-year-olds who crawled on a daycare floor that had residue. Somebody had come through there and had tracked this stuff in, and these kids died because of contact with the residue. What their trusting parents didn't know is that they were crawling through these poison drugs. So even babies are dying. That's how toxic this stuff is. I'm telling you, Derek Maltz, who lives in that world, is telling you this is no accident. This is an act of war by China against the United States.
Dr. Phil, in my opinion, we've been at chemical war with China for many years. So let me just put it in perspective so your listeners and viewers can understand. This is $207 million. It was seized in a house in Mexico City in 2007. That's many years ago. And it came from a Chinese chemical broker who was providing methamphetamine precursor chemicals to the cartels.
This is a strategic attack. China can't defeat America with missiles, so they found a much cheaper insidious weapon, which is chemistry. Biological warfare is outlawed. It's a war crime. You don't do that. But it's happening. And they use American social media, among other things, to deliver it right to our children. They even recruit Americans to smuggle it across the border because Trump has closed down the border and it's harder and harder to get it across the border in the deserts. They're bringing it in through the ports of entry, and they're hiring over social media American teenagers and others who look less suspicious to bring it across through ports of entry. And they say, well, they may get caught. Well, yeah, they may get caught, but they say, okay, we'll just make up another batch and send it. The kid goes to prison for 20 years. They don't care. It's a carefully planned strategy to slowly, insidiously destroy us. Over 115 million pills containing illicit fentanyl were seized by law enforcement in 2023, estimated to be 10 to 20% of what was coming across. Of those pills, 30% of fentanyl samples contained xylazine, that chemical that literally causes your body to rot. And the estimate during that period of time was they were seizing about 10% of what was coming across. The rate at which these can be produced is astounding. A pill machine was seized in East Haven, Connecticut, part of a DEA postal investigation. The one machine was able to produce 100,000 fake pills per hour. Let that sink in. One machine was able to produce 100,000 fake pills per hour. What are we talking about money-wise? Billions of dollars made by the cartels and laundered by the Chinese through banking apps and brokers. It's a win-win for China and the cartels, and deadly for the United States of America. China's labs aren't just supplying cartels with poisons. They're running illegal marijuana grows right here in America, using pesticides so toxic, ER doctors are seeing psychosis and schizophrenia spikes in teen users. And the most maddening, most frustrating thing is this is all part of the plan. China wants our citizens like this. It is a strategic exploitation of U.S. weaknesses and vulnerabilities, with the goal to destabilize and undermine the country, destroying the future generation with chemicals made in these illicit laboratories. And it is a very strategic weapon. It is wiping out more Americans than any terrorist organization in history. So this is not about party politics. If you're listening to me talk about this and you're a Democratic Party member or a Republican Party member, please, this is a bipartisan problem. This is about our national security and our children's survival. We cannot arrest our way out of this. ICE cannot fix this, but we can educate our way out of it. Every school should be showing this truth. Every parent should be talking about it. Every parent should be taking this real story to the schools and ask them to fact check it. And when it fact checks out, ask them to play it in every homeroom across America. Put every child on alert. At least 50% of the pills they buy online have lethal doses of fentanyl or other fatal drugs in the pill. You got at least a 1 in 2 chance of being dead if you take a pill off the internet. We need to tell children about this. Every parent should be talking about it. Every influencer should be posting about it, because the dealers are already in your child's DMs. So we have to be too. Conclusion? This isn't a war we declared, but it's a war that we are in. And every time we call it a drug crisis, we downplay the truth. China isn't selling drugs, they're selling death. And until America treats it like the war it is, we won't just lose a generation, we'll lose our future. And that's the real story. Wherever you're getting The Real Story, make sure you subscribe and follow. I'll see you tomorrow.